As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind...
Okay, thank you very much for joining me today. This is video 10, the will fraud. So after my grandfather's murder in 1988, my grandmother decided to go and live in one of these offshore islands for tax purposes to protect the family's assets. What you can see on the page right now is my grandfather's will that he actually signed himself, which is witnessed correctly by two solicitors. This is the will he did before he went to World War II. You can see it's dated the 14th of August 1940. So on the next page you will see one of the offshore islands documents in relation to my grandmother obtaining probate for my grandfather. So on the next page you'll see here this particular lawyer is a UK lawyer who was representing my grandmother and my family before she moved to and you can see on the next page coming will be an example of instructions to council to construct the will for Mrs. Durrant. In this document you'll have to pause the screen and then read it. It states obviously all of her wishes and exactly her intentions to split the money up between her three children. On the next page again you can just see last notes from advice to council on Mrs. Durrant's intentions. On the next page here you can see actually Mrs. Margaret Edith Durrant's will that was signed correctly, witnessed correctly. It's short and sweet, leaving all of her assets to her three children. And now on the next page you will see again it's documentation attached to that will, witnessed correctly, stating Mrs. Durrant's intentions, and everything's done correctly there. Now we've still got another attachment to that original will from the UK lawyer. And now this is where my family's problems start. This is the front page of the offshore will. So you can see it's my grandmother's name. On the next page I've blanked out all the individuals' names. Nothing unusual here apart from it doesn't have a number at the bottom of the page. You would expect a number 1. So I suggest this will has been certainly altered. If you look at the next page, it has a number 2 at the bottom. So there is a number 2, but there is no other numbers. The numbers aren't running accordingly. That's what I'm alleging. So this is just an example of the document with the wording from the trustee that's written this himself. Now, the last page of my grandmother's will, again, does not have a number. The previous number was 22, so this should be 23. You've got to bear in mind, my grandmother signed this on the 13th of July, 1990. And 6 days after that, she had a stroke. So I allege maybe my trustee went and had a cup of tea with her. Who knows? Because the information I have on these individuals, I wouldn't put it past them. Now, the signatures, who are they? Who's witnessed this will? It's just Mickey Mouse and Daffy Duck. Maybe they've traced my grandmother's signature, which is something professionals will have to look into. Please bear in mind, this individual has defrauded my family for 3 decades, and he has known frauds around the world, but never in his jurisdiction in his offshore island. Now, the next page is the Emerald Trust in one of the other offshore islands, which is where Mr. Durrant left his assets. And you can see my grandfather, the lawyer, has left an unsigned trust deed. Now, the company or the trust service provider in that offshore island, I'll let you know, is behind Thatcher, Maxwell, and much more, which I'll elaborate in another video. You can see here the gentleman who signed as well is Mr. R.S.R. Harvey. He worked for Jack DeVoe and Barry Seal drug smuggling in South America. There's a lot more I can elaborate on this. For example, the trustee above here, a certain Dutch individual, we've never spoken, met him, or ever seen his signature. I allege this is a fake person made up. Now, bear in mind, the Masons are the beneficiaries of this trustee till 2006. I've been ringing the Masons this morning and I've recorded the call. They still can't tell me if they've been using the Emerald Trust deed in one of these offshore islands. They actually hung up on me. So at a later date I can reveal these calls to the Freemasons at the Grand Hall in London. Well, thank you very much for listening, and the next video will be coming shortly. Cheers.